and today we are going to talk about how to take care of your newborn baby. Now that your baby is here, what are you gonna do? This is a new human being, and you probably are a first-time mother. How am I supposed to deal? I don't know. I've never taken care of somebody, so how am I supposed to even walk through this journey? And I'm going to take you through some of the tips that helped me do that. This is not a blueprint, as I always say. This is the tips that helped me personally. You'll definitely get a lot of insights, information, advice, but it is now on you to filter and see what works for you. So when we left the hospital with my child, there's some things that I found to be very important, even as I took care of her for the first 4 weeks. The first 1 month can be very difficult. While all the baby does is sleep and probably eat, it can be really treacherous, especially if you're a first-time mother, because it's a new human being. You don't know how to, go about it. But again, it comes naturally. So one of the things I learned when my baby came to this world and when I checked out of hospital with her and I got home, the first thing I learned from the hospital and even at home is to make sure my baby is warm throughout. It is important that your baby stays warm throughout, regardless of whether it is hot outside. Reason being that your baby has been in the womb for 9 months. The environment in the womb is very warm and very cozy for her. So she's coming to a new environment and the temperatures could be slightly low. So it is important that you make sure you try and keep her in the same temperature and try to, have her warm as she was in the womb, so that she acclimatizes to this new environment quickly, and of course she does not develop any illnesses or allergies or any of that. So keeping my baby warm was very important in this journey, and in the first 4 weeks I still try to keep her as warm as I can, but now she has acclimatized. The second thing is how do I bathe my child now that she is here? Because what you will do is you will feed her, you will bathe her, she will sleep, you will dress her, and repeat. So bathing was part of the key things that I was struggling with when my baby was born. Do I sponge bathe her? Do I dip her in water? When I left the hospital, the nurses, they will actually show you how to bathe your baby. Those are some of the fundamentals that you will be taught while in hospital. So when you come home, you're on your own and there's no nurse to help you. And so how do you go about it? Again, it is up to you, but at the end of the day, I thought it was important to make sure my baby takes a bath every day. It helps her even when she sleeps. One thing to do even before you bathe your child is to make sure that you preheat her room. Make sure the room is as warm as possible, so that by the time you're even undressing her, she is warm and she's comfortable. I personally sponge bathed my daughter because it was very difficult for me to bathe her the first 7 days because, again, of the cord. So while I'm told to keep my cord warm, how do I balance between bathing her and keeping the cord warm? So I opted for sponge bathing. I use Johnson & Johnson's baby wash. It is one of the products I swear by during the period within which my baby was 1 to 4 weeks old. It was very mild on my child. It was mild on water. She never reacted to it, and so that's what I've been using throughout. Another thing is I used water and cotton wool to sponge bathe her as opposed to dipping her in water. It was easy for me. It takes a longer period of time, and that is why the room needs to be as warm as possible, but that worked for me. Again, this is not a blueprint. You can opt to bathe her fully if you so wish, whatever floats your boat. Thirdly, and what I learned thirdly with new babies is they will come out of hospital. There's a healing cord, and how do you even take care of this cord? How do you tend to it? As in my previous video, I showed you the powder I use. It's called Grabacin powder. This is what I used to apply on her, say 3 to 4 times a day, to just keep the cord dry. But over and above that, there's more to it than just keeping it dry. So part of the things I did was to make sure I sponge bathe her and not put her in water so that the cord falls off quickly. On average, the cord should have fallen off between the 7th and the 10th day. If it goes over, again, don't worry. I understand it happens, and if it goes beyond that, you may want to seek medical advice. But taking care of your baby's cord is very, very, very important for you and for her, because it is one of the things, even from how you dress her to, how you tend to eat while you bathe her, while you change her, and all of that. Should the diaper come over the cord, or should it go over the cord? Again, you'll get diapers that are comfortable enough and size. There are good size, so that if if you're putting diaper on her, it's loose enough to cater to the cord. Alternatively, you can decide to get the diaper below the cord so that it is easy for her and for you also. Another thing I learned with new babies is that they will be feeding all the time. Again, whether or not you are breastfeeding, it is important that she eats and takes her meals as often as possible. She's coming to a new environment. She used to rely on me while in the womb, but right now she needs to rely on the milk I'm producing or the formula I'm giving her. So it's important that you balance it out. If you're lucky to have milk come out on the first day, make sure you breastfeed her immediately. That is what I was told, and it will enhance your milk supply. I've been reading a lot about this whole milk situation, and it's a balancing act. The supply that you're getting is based on the demand of the baby. So the more you breastfeed, the more the milk will come out. It's important you breastfeed as much as you can, because milk is never stored. Breasts are not meant for storing milk. They are meant for actually releasing milk. So the more you breastfeed, the more milk you will have. Another thing that I did not do when my baby came to this world is that I did not pump immediately. And I had so much milk, it kept overflowing, and I just didn't pump. No one told me I should. So let it just flow, let it, But I learned that you need to pump almost immediately your baby is born, because you will have an overflow of milk for those of you who will be lucky. So take advantage of that and pump almost immediately. As cliche as this may sound, taking a lot of water really helps. Another thing I used to make sure that I have enough supply of breast milk, cliche as it sounds, is that I used moringa. I used I used lactating, tea. I used moringa. I took a lot of water, and whether or not that helped, I don't know which really increased my supply, but I used to use all of that simultaneously because I needed as much milk as I could, because I was going to work very soon. So make sure to take advantage of that and pump immediately you're able to, and don't wait for like after a month, because you will want to store this milk for rainy season. Another thing I learned with the newborn baby is how do you even get them to, how do they sleep? Do they sleep on their backs? Do they sleep on their tummies? While most people say it is comfortable to have them sleep on their tummy, it is important and it is fundamental that they sleep on their backs to reduce the risk of SIDS. You can go and research about it. So you will be told by your doctor, you will research about it, and you will see. They need to sleep on their backs so that you can reduce the risk of SIDS and them, suffocating while sleeping. I researched a lot about that, and I knew she was more comfortable in the tummy, but I had to do it on her back so that she can be comfortable. Lastly, there are babies who sleep easily when swaddled. There are some who do not. Swaddling is just the traditional way of what our mothers used to do, taking a shawl and covering her up 3 times, 1, 2, and then the 3rd time. But we have swaddle blankets for that nowadays. My child was not a fan of that, and so I just kept off that. But for them to even be more comfortable, you may want to use a swaddle blanket. One, again, as I say, it reduces the risk of SIDS. It's dependent on whether your baby will adopt it or not. Do not pressure. You will also learn that kids are very different. Kids are inclined to different things as they grow, so you do not have to force your child to do what she's not comfortable. Just learn. It's very instinctive, and as your baby grows, you will know what she likes, what she doesn't, what suits her, what are her preferences. When she cries, you will know, and it will help you. It will be of use. So if you have a newborn baby, or if you're expecting a baby, it's an amazing journey, and I wish you all the best, and look forward to seeing you soon as we unravel this journey. Have a good one. Mwah.